Oh, they're literally clicking at me.
They're trying to communicate with us, Ross.
What are they saying?
Morse code, I don't know what it is, but either way, we're into Champions like KT, Rolster, and AHQ. Let's see if they are the untiltable KT Rolster, because Smeb was definitely untiltable earlier today. They tried to apply that status condition to him, but he shrugged it off. Let's get into these bans. Lee Sin and Kalista towards AHQ, and Caitlyn at KT.
And you would assume that AHQ are going to follow the blueprint that the rest of the tournament has set. It's going to be a Galio and a Zac to join them on the red side bans. I do like the fact that Kalista has been taken away from both these AD carries. I want to see the champion pool expanded a little bit. I really want to see like an Ashe and a Varus. I'm pretty tired of the Xayahs.
You stumbled there, but I would like to call it the rad side of the rift. That would be pretty cool. But KT going to lock away the Talia in ban prison here towards Westor. Just leave open the Twisted Fate.
Oh boy. Of course, Westor is still very famous for his 1-3-1 abilities. You know, it's about how he impacts those side lanes. He's notorious for falling behind ridiculous amounts of CS, and I feel like we're going to have a couple of shenanigans going on in the side lanes because we have Pawn and Westor in this game.
You'd have to feel that is the case. That being said, Corki's going to be the primary pick for KT here. Just leave open a bunch of junglers, though, for HQ, including Elise.
I love that KT Rolster, like, higher priority on Corki over someone like Elise. So finally Corki getting the respect that I think he is due. It's also just a comfort pick for Pawn. You know, it's been a long time since I've got to cast this guy, but he definitely likes his Corki.
Yeah, he definitely has gone away from home, but we're excited when we see him. And Elise, we're going to be there for Mountain. Now looking at towards the next pick now for AHQ.
I feel like those fans can't quite tell which side they're on.
Yeah, definitely that friendship, I know, seems to be split a little, but it's nice to see them voting for both teams because this is, of course, you know, an LMS crowd. So we'd expect most of these guys to be behind AHQ.
But already very strong 2 picks from AHQ, Elise and Thresh, super high priority. Again, the only thing that I would like better with this is that Corki, but so much pick potential coming out of Albus and Mountain right now.
Yeah, Thresh coming in there for Albus. Back over to KT. Let's see where they look towards their next couple of picks. So Lee Sin taken away. Elise also removed by AHQ. Let's see if they go for another jungler here, was my point.
So with the pickup of Rek'Sai, this would put a higher priority on the Gragas, but because the jungler has already been locked in by Mountain, that would force Ziv into maybe a matchup that he doesn't really want to play. You know, he wants to play that firepower, as Papa Smithy was talking about on the analyst desk. He wants the Bruisers, he wants the Jarvits, the Renekton's, the Fioras. He doesn't want to have to deal with that Gragas.
Yeah, of course not. And Rek'Sai being picked into Elise a lot nowadays, so will be picked up here as well. Now looking towards KT for the next one.
I was going to say, if that Kog'Maw got locked in, Gragas would just slowly climb higher and higher on priority, but they hold their cards close to their chest and just make sure that they've created a great protection or a lot of zone control for Deft, whatever ADC he chooses to pick up.
Just the TK coming out there at AHQ. I believe that's locked in. It is Westor's Cassiopeia going to be in this game, and he's actually the only player who hasn't capitalized AHQ in his name. Just noticed that.
Wow. Now I'm tilted.
He's an individual,
now
but it's messing with my OCD a lot.
I can't not see
I've actually just ruined that for everyone who's watching. I've now just seen that, so my apologies. But back over to the bans. Fiora bound away against Smeb, and Renekton in the top lane as well. So none of the top lanes have been picked up yet, so it makes sense that we're hitting that champion pool.
And again, kind of speaking of zone controls, we go back to the 3 picks that we still see alive. The Kog'Maw's the big AD carry that's been left up. Yes, there is the more standard, like the Ashe, like the Varus, but it's kind of been this tug of war. Are we taking the utility? Are we taking the hyperscale on our ADC? And I feel like more teams with the rise of Xayah, with the rise of the permaban Caitlyn's, are leaning towards that late game scaling potential.
Kennen going to be the final ban there from AHQ. Again, the top lane ban. We'll round it out with Ashe aimed at Arn. AHQ now get their pick of the ladder, depending where they want to go now. Not many top laners left, so we could potentially see them nabbing one of those now before they look towards the ADC, or they could keep hiding it. That's also a thing. 5 seconds left.
Come on, On. Come on, On.
I know this is your champion.
This is my champion. Yes!
It's locked in. Jinx comes in there for Arn. Definitely a crowd pleaser, you can hear.
And I am right behind them with that. So again, just the fingerprints of looking for a late game scaling ADC. They pick up the Jinx. I am a huge fan of Jinx right now. I'll go so far as to say that I still build Static Shiv on her, even though she doesn't
great now.
necessarily need the assistance in the wave clear. And Deft, come on. Don't go Tristana. Give me your Kog'Maw.
That'll be fun to see. It's Camille first off, though. Going to be blind into top lane. So there is still Well, I guess there's not much in that top lane anymore, so Camille does rise.
Jarvan is the big one that sticks out. You could go for the Gragas, but you assume it's going to be a Camille-Jarvan matchup. We've seen that one go either way, and what better way to start this off than having Smeb versus Ziv in kind of a skill-based matchup.
And to be fair, like, Camille is weighted in that matchup quite positively because her ultimate actually does very well into Jarvan's ultimate, so it's a possibility we see that here, or maybe a pivot from AHQ. That being said, it will be the Jhin in the end from Def, so no Crockmore this time, unfortunately, for us.
Yeah, that's fine. Now, something that KT Rolster did opt out of is they don't have a lot of wave clear outside of Pawn. You know, it's very unsafe. They have a lot of melee-based champions. It's just that Corki and the Jhin. Jhin, not terrible at wave clear, but it's not something like a Jinx. So if Pawn ever is out of position, if he ever goes down, the tournaments really can just get shredded.
A pick that I know well from the LPL will be locked in here. It's Kled to the top lane, and he was definitely popularized in the LPL before spreading a little bit around the world.
I feel like I'm just going to jump ship from the LPL and land on the LMS because I am all about this draft. Again, it's just where their power is weighted and how many opportunities they have to look for these quick hits. They can hit you hard and fast in the early game with the power of the Elise. They can hit you in that late game with the Cassiopeia protecting the Jinx. And they can hit you in the mid game and run you down with that Kled. But on the other side, KT Rolster have a hyper-scaling composition. Camille, Corki, and Jhin, it doesn't get better than that. And then they have Score on Rek'Sai to really break open and bridge through early mid-game.
I'm very interested in the top lane matchup as well, Camille and Kled, because did knock out a lot of top laners in terms of the bans, so there was the preferential Camille pick over to Smeb to start this one off. At the same time, bottom lane, we'll see what the AD carries can do. Jinx going up against Jhin, both high late game scalers.
And the thing that I want to point out is not just their AD carries, but their partners in crime. We have Tahm Kench on one side and we have Thresh on the other. When you're pairing the Tahm Kench with the likes of the Corki and the Camille, you already have the blueprint of the 1-3-1. We said that the AHQ, Westor took the stage. Normally he's known for that 1-3-1, but on someone who's immobile like a Cassiopeia, it's much more about the 1-4 or the 5v5 for AHQ.
And we see the compositions once again. If you were to favor a particular composition, are you leaning towards AHQ just because of the Jinx?
Yeah, exactly. Picked up Jinx. That's my favorite champion. So I got to get behind him.
Okay, I guess I'll have to go to the opposite side. Because I do like some Camille. I mean, it's very difficult to play nowadays if you're a solo queue player. But in professional play, still see a lot of people going towards that champion for specific reasons, whether it's pick and going for those team fights, or maybe even just having preferential matchups when a lot of those top lanes are taken away. So we'll see what Smeb can do with the champion. Is, of course, a joy to see him on the stage.
Yeah, and paying attention to KT Rolster, if you go all the way back, I just love how they work around Smeb. It's about kind of watch for how they hold their teleports, particularly around kind of second dragon spawn, because sometimes it can time up with early barons. They used to have this reputation in the LCK that they would take earlier barons than some teams, maybe a little bit of that LPL flavor left over in the likes of Pawn and Deft.
Anyway, to reiterate, guys, the standings are now locked. It's LCK first, LMS in second, and LPL last for the group stages. Of course, there is still a chance for the LPL to bounce back tomorrow, but it does mean this game in particular doesn't mean so much. It's more of a scrim for these two teams as we get later into the tournament.
You know what? I'm going to back away from the word scrim. I'm sure that AHQ and KT will set the record straight for us with how aggressive they come out, but I feel like there's still a lot of pride. There's a lot of smack talk in these regions, and I don't think that AHQ in front of the home crowd is just going to take this as, you know, an exhibition match,
You've got a point.
Scrim, if you will.
I heard how wild they went for the Jinx pick. I'm pretty sure they didn't want to see AHQ now lose it following this loss from KT, so now we'll see what AHQ are made of here, because KT are a pretty strong beast. We saw them earlier today, of course, against RNG.
Yeah, and both teams actually looking for, I think, really strong pulls on buff. It will be a Raptor Leash as well, coming out of Corki for their jungler, but making sure that both Mountain and Score on the right foot in terms of tempo advantage in the jungle, and we've seen how important that is.
Absolutely. It will be just the start on the bottom side. Score going to go towards his red buff, ignoring the final Raptor. And looks like he'll go towards the crab as well here. We'll see if he's running that XP Quint.
And, you know, normally we see this with a melee support. Mata, of course, on that Tahm Kench. So it makes sense that Deft and Mata would look for the pull for Score, just because we have the melee support. We're probably going to give away lane pressure anyway, so just let them push in. But the fact that On and Albus also gave away their immediate lane dominance by pulling for Mountain is pretty interesting.
It's actually Score just going for camp buff, and may look towards the top side, or the crab as well. So there's no fast level 3 and then into gank, so we're going to have a slightly slower start to the game. Mountain will just finish off this wall, go towards his own top side. Wester actually instantly putting down that ward, and it's actually very good timing because Score is just about to take the crab, may even be looking towards mid following that.
Yeah, everyone is very heads up about the jungle pathing and which way they've gone about it. You can also see that right now Smeb's moving down, trying to find eyes on where Mountain is. See if he actually wards the red. Nope, it's going to be Krugs.
Yeah, just the Krugs on that one. And we'll jump back over the wall with the blast cone, go back into the top lane. Right now, we're just watching the pathing from the junglers, but for the most part, we're just seeing full clears out from Mountain. Most likely Score as well, as he's gone back, taking the grump to his wolves, all bog standard.
I'm just kind of curious what type of pace of game we're going to get. Is this going to be a camp for the top lane, try to get that very volatile swinging matchup one way or the other for Ziv or Smeb, or is this going to be a much more controlled, just power farm the jungle, sit back into our lanes, let the lane phase be elongated, because both teams are confident that come mid, come late game, that they have the options and the answers to execute.
You'd have to hope that Smeb should be okay in this top lane, though, because Camille doesn't have many good matchups nowadays, and Kled isn't one of the worst of them, so Smeb should be able to farm at the very least, get toward that mid game, be a split push threat, or get those pickoffs onto Arn, since he's a low mobility ADC. So he should be able to jump in his face, and without a Gragas being here, without many knockbacks, or any knockbacks, it's difficult to get him outside of that ultimatum.
That is if Smeb is participating in the 5v5 as opposed to just running away in a side lane.
Yeah, definitely true. Because Ziv most likely going to be involved in these fights, and when he's away, all his towers are going to drop to Smeb. 3 damage will apply to those towers. To the mid lane, haven't spoken about the door yet, and Pawn. It will be Corki up against Cassiopeia, so we'll see what they can do here.
I don't think there's a lot of options for the door to really make his name. That said, it's also not really in his tendency for his, 1v1 lane dominance. Cassiopeia, unfortunately, doesn't have the strongest spikes on her initial itemization because she does go that tier route. Likewise, if Corki feels like he is in a pinch, he can always itemize defensively through the Hex Drinker. I doubt Pawn will be pushed to that.
Well, first gank of the game, Ziv does miss the bear trap on the rope. Mountain coming in as well, lands the repel, looking for this cocoon now, which does connect onto Smeb, so it will be damage more than anything else on towards him. And Smeb will retreat back to the tower. So it wasn't ever going to be the kill, maybe to get the flash, but he goes back to base, regens some of his HP.
Depending on how hard they can push this, they might be able to force out an earlier teleport. But like you said, it's really just a love tap in terms of how Smeb is going to be laning. But this would certainly hurt a lot more.
This would be big. Wave is being pushed in, and Score's waiting over the wall, though he knows that Mountain's probably going to come home soon. He's going to see him turn this corner. And jumps out, we'll look for the engage. Repel comes up, Pawn also coming in from the middle lane. Mountain knocks him down. Returns to damage. What's Westall doing?
They're collapsing.
Not a whole lot, but Smeb's coming in as well. Mountain will actually just go down for first blood. Everyone collapses in. They actually just choose to stay and fight.
And that was just beautifully executed by Score. A very cerebral move right there to track where Mountain was going. Pawn had the inside track because he has the push priority. It's Corki versus Cassiopeia, and it doesn't get much easier than that.
Yeah, very easy for Smeb. Literally just to walk down, hook shot over the wall, and there it is. Picked up that kill, and that will go to Score as well. Looking to actually double down onto Westall. This wave is pushing away from him, so there is a track ready for Score to kind of travel here.
Does have flash and heal, but Score is going to back off and just return to his own jungle. So otherwise, not much gained or lost. It was Score that walked away with that first blood.
Yeah, definitely a quieter early game. We got the first blood, but it feels like everyone's just going back along the normal daily business. We've got this wave pushing in towards Pawn as well, so he's going to just farm this one up.
And AHQ coming into this tournament, they're not the same AHQ of old, not the ones that people really expect on the international tournament. They've certainly kind of struggled in the LMS, they're trying to find and figure out these growing pains. Is it Westor? Is it Chowie that's working for us? They've been favoring Chowie, obviously using Westor in front of their home crowd for this match. Like you said, doesn't really have any implication on the standings. But coming in here, they were like, let's just focus on the LMS. We're going to use this as great experience internationally, but to help us right the ship as we look towards playoffs domestically.
I mean, right now, LMS, they're in a situation where if they take tomorrow, they go into the finals, eliminate the LPL. It's a little bit more than just, getting ready for that. However, Mountain once again, the flash and the hook shot, and it just instantly goes down. Teleport still comes out there, but Ziv, you're going to have to cancel, mate. What else are you going to do there?
And that's the 2-for-1 special, but this is what we expect from KT Rolster. Smeb and Score teaming up, going on these invade missions for deep vision, and when they do find the enemy jungle, just ripping him apart. Now, unfortunately for Smeb, he hasn't been the benefactor of any of these kills, but 2 assists in the back pocket means that he does have massive push priority because the Tiamat is completed that much earlier.
Albus is trying to make something happen in the mid lane. Wester is approaching, lands the Petrifying Gaze on the turn, the flash, the hook as well. See if we can do the damage. Wester out of mana, turns Pon. He tries to get back to his tower, flashes away. Ignite goes down by Albus. He really wanted him dead, but he goes back.
Pon was definitely facing the top side of the map there, so that one feels a little bit bad to get locked there, but good showing from Wester and great follow-up from Albus to at least burn both summoners.
I saw him in the corner of his eye and saw that Medusa. Locks him in place.
Ultimately, it doesn't mean as much to have a flash burned on a Corki simply because he still has that Valkyrie versus Westor not using the flash on the Cassiopeia. That would be something that you would look to punish.
Still an advantage. And Mountain will go for his next phase of buffs, though he is 2 kills down. We'll have to see what else Score can do with that information and power that he's accumulated. Right now, just taking out on the Krugs. Has the initial Warriors enchant very early into the game. So it does make him very powerful in these skirmishes, though we haven't really seen skirmishes more than we have picks.
Mountain just can't go anywhere without KT knowing exactly what he's doing right now.
Yeah, completely being tracked by KT. AHQ, take away that ward behind the tower. And bot lane's just been a farming frenzy. Deft and Arn have literally just been farming it up for themselves. That's BF swords over to both of them. Equal farm for the most part as well. Arn resolves this minion wave. Mountain should be giving this one over to Westor, or I don't know, may even take it just to catch up.
He's
but
floating
no,
over.
he's going to give it over.
Just takes her a little bit.
Yeah, don't want to deny it over from Westor, who has gone for his initial build. He's pretty much set. He's got his catalyst, got his tier, though.
But KT know that he's topside, so they are looking to try to make use of this. Ziv expertly disengages, forced to use his ultimate.
Pon now does have package as he gets moved back into the mid lane. See if he makes a play on the side. Westor, again, just poking away in this mid lane. Top lane, now Ziv without the ultimate, does have his flash still.
Mountain needs to be careful. He knows that Score is waiting for him in his jungle, so has to approach quite cautiously, especially because Pon has the package here. So far, KT are just controlling the entire top side of the map. There's nothing to do. Just let it go. There's no reason to be here.
Yep. Every bush that Mountain wants to walk into, there's someone from KT in there. Oh, they even want these Raptors. They have been locked in place as grounded condition. Quite annoying to deal with. Westor backing away to his middle lane. Well, we've got the hookshot coming in from Smeb once again, trying to kill him, but he's flashed underneath the tower. Probably wants to leave his own ultimatum. Westor was there to support. Now, top side, Ziv coming into this fight as well. Doesn't have the ultimate with the Tam Kench coming in. This is about to turn around back over to KT once again. And he's carrying the ADC, but it's out of mana, and that's the mid laner. But he jumps into the belly of Tam Kench. He jumps away. It's the kill onto the ADC. And that's 1 kill to AHQ. Make that 2.
And AHQ just call KT Rolster's bluff, and they're not done.
No, Westor wants him, but he's been exhausted. He's been slowed. Mana keeping him in place. And Westor, he'll take all the damage he can onto Mana as he retreats. It's a 2 for 1.
But why, KT? I understand that you want to, you know, you got that swagger and you walk, you're feeling confident. Smeb's got early rotation, you have package on Pon, you want to punish Mountain. But there's nothing there, it's just the Raptor camp. And they pulled the teleport, they pulled the Abyssal Voyage all the way up. They got Mata involved, but at what cost? They lose the kills, they lose massive damage on the tower. Just feel like that was super arrogant from KT.
100%. Midtaz almost going to go down from that single push. So Westor gets locked up in place. Pon's here as well, and the curtain call. No, the Dark Passage is waiting for him. He's not even going to take it. That's going to go to Anne. So we're all good. Mid lane is defended there from KT.
But that's now 2 kills over to Westor as we take another look at that. And again, they are committing so much. Now, they have the confidence to know that Kled doesn't have charge, that they have the inside track. So it makes sense, you know, try to abuse the fact that you have the superior rotation, you get Mata involved, but here's where it's, you know, a bit of an overreach. They walk in blind, they don't have the vision, they eat the Cassiopeia ultimate, and suddenly AHQ, like I said, they call their buff, they collapse, and KT trade when they don't need to, over the Raptor camp.
And AHQ just try to get everything they can from this one as well as Westor chases them down. It's not going to result in too much, but it does result in a lot of damage onto that mid lane tower following that push. So good stuff to AHQ. If they can actually break that, it will mean a lot in terms of implications around vision and control. But for now, KT do hold on for it. First Dragon hasn't been approached yet. It is Infernal, so we do expect to see somewhat of a skirmish over that. Pon's item build has been a little bit stymied, a little bit pushed back because he has to go for that Hex Shrinker against Westo, who now has 2 kills, so has to go for that one.
And that's the thing, you know, losing out on a lot of that early damage from the Corki. He does still have the Sheen, but doesn't have something like the Phage next to it, delaying that Trinity because Westor has been given these 2 kills and kind of propelled or slingshotted back into the game. Still will take some time to warm up, but kind of a head scratcher here.
Oh, Albus walking right into death to Mata, or wisely flash away, does not want to be the pick right before a potential Infernal. Zib's going to chase after Smeb, but it's going to get de-skulled in a second. There you go, jumps away, but that's going to be the ultimate used by Smeb. He's in tower range, so we're just awkwardly on both sides of the arena. Squad's going to come over, doesn't land the Q, he's going to flash and probably ult as well. Smeb goes in, needs to tank this tower for his top lane and not troll him. All right, good stuff from KT, very clean.
There you go, and that's what I wanted from KT. You know, there's no reason to throw away free kills over the Raptor camp. Just dive and continue to punish your strength on the top side, but do it smartly like that.
AHQ will get the Inferno on the bottom side, so what do you value more? Probably will be a tower trade for that one, however, AHQ have left the top lane wide open. Without an Inferno, not going to be all that unhappy.
We'll see what the next dragon is, however, because with KT... Oh!
What the... Okay, from downtown, I was... not expecting that. I was like, where did he go? I was like, wait, was that score? Did he go underground? No, he's just dead.
I thought for sure that it was going to take him low, but it wouldn't kill him.
Well played to Arn. And he's just in the bot lane, just now with a kill. Good stuff.
What I was going to say is it's super important what the next dragon was going to be, because now KT would have control over that pit simply because they've opened up the top lane, can use that as a pressure point. So thankfully for them, it is an Infernal. They will be able to tie that up should they secure next dragon.
Oh man, that was brutal.
It's one of my favorite sound effects. So I'm a long-time Nidalee player, and it's like the only thing that is better than the max range, just like thunk of the spear, is definitely the Jinx execute rocket.
Especially from across map as well. So fantastic. Well, 14 minutes into this game. Next round's going to be Infernal, as you said. KT still with the gold lead. They did take the first tower of the game, so nice healthy gold influx on that one. Still pushing the bottom side. We've got Pawn coming back. It looks like he has the package because he's rocketing out of base, so I have to assume so. And he'll be finding himself West Draw as well. So he's not in a bad position whatsoever. Really would like to get towards that Triforce, that spike. Same for Smeb, honestly, before they start going for these skirmishes.
Which means that they're just going to continue to kind of sit in this lane phase, and it should be fairly quiet. There is an opportunity that maybe KT reach for this blue buff, try to contest that. But with Score actually backing as Mata and Deft are rotating, you would think that they might give this one away, although as I say that, I actually saw a couple of pings. They've certainly set up the vision for it.
That they have. And Rod of Age is now completed from Westor as well, so he's got that very early on into the game.
AHQ have the same idea. They rock over to the blue buff like, he's not here, right?
We think. We're pretty sure. Pong clears this one out, moves to the bottom river. Maybe looking for a potential gank. I believe he still has the package.
Well, KT are going to go for this one. So package was just used by Corki, but Score is being pulled over, and Deft and Mata are in position. We're going to have a skirmish over this.
Well, like that is the case. Well, blue buff going to go down definitely to Westall before that.
Smeb's hiding, looking for teleport.
Here, Frosk. Both top laners actually trying to find that position because both of them can actually disrupt them out of a TP. So very frustrating. We want to be away from that. It looks like Smeb's coming down. Nope, he's going back into river. So again, still calm before the storm. Both teams really would like to hit their spikes before jumping for an engage.
I just love watching KT because you can tell that they're kind of hunting. You know, you watch how Smeb, he's moving, he's gathering deep vision, but he's also, you know, he stands still, he looks for that teleport. Are we going to pull the trigger? No, guys. I got some items, I got some damage. Okay, they pull back, and they just grab what other objective is left here. So it will be the Rift Herald, although Kled and Elise here first.
Yeah, Mountain wants to contest this. I believe he has been spotted by KT, being pinged out there. They're just chasing down Smeb. He's out of range of the tether. And here comes Wester as well, so it might look to be the contest over Herald. Score's going to see this, though. Yeah, I doubt they want to fully commit.
They will get this set up as long as they're patient. Don't overcommit, give away a numbers disadvantage, because they do have control over that top lane. So they're just waiting for Smeb to get the push there and then move in underneath on it.
A lot of downtime between these skirmishes for both these two teams, setting up. Be very methodical. Farming up as well. Arn's actually gone for the very early static shift and the BF sword on Jinx, actually harking back to pretty much the optimal build for a long time. Westel's going to find Pawn in the mid lane, trading back damage. Here comes the Tam Kench as well. Westel probably going to have to use the ultimate right here, right now, and that lands onto two players. Double stun comes up. Curtain call primarily for the disengage. We can get the kill, great, but Mountain's there to body block the shots.
but the damage has been done. Westor very low, still has this blue buff. Super dangerous to hang around. He knows Smeb is behind tower.
Oh, Ziv walking right into the death trap, knocked up and about to be deskulled on this one. He's locked in the ultimatum, buys a little bit of time, but he instantly goes down. Score well played, dragged in. Albus connect the hook, and Smeb taking a lot of damage. Jumps into the belly of Tam Kench, will be dragged away to safety. He flashes away. Score kind of by himself right now, but should be able to get out alive. As on wants blood, he sees Mata. He smells it in the water. Westor's going to flash after, or flash away from. And that's the route down onto Arn. So that will be the end of the game. Just a 1 kill to KT.
And AHQ have a red zone defense there. If KT Rolster had retained their health bars, they could have swung this advantage maybe into a Herald, maybe into the mid lane. But AHQ collapsed beautifully. They turn the tempo around, and they trade a kill for a tower. Very worth for them.
They get to revisit that mid lane now for AHQ and finally knock it over. And they still have that first Infernal, so if they could now mobilize towards the next Dragon, then suddenly puts AHQ in a very good position for this game. So that being said, what's that? A Rek'Sai with 4 kills in the early game. I feel like I've seen this before in this tournament.
Which means that he does have the EXP lead. We'll see if he retains that as the Dragon comes live. Mountain still has plenty of time to even up that smite difference. And it's now the question of, will KT 5v5 contest for that, or will AHQ be patient, play the control objective game, use their advantage that they've gained in the mid game by placing down deep vision and getting that one for free? Double Infernal will always mean a lot.
I'm just saying, we're going by predictions right here. 4 is a bad number in terms of kills for Rek'Sai in the early game. I believe Atlas was saying that 5 is maybe a good number.
He's 1 away.
He's 1 away. So if he gets to that number, I think we'll be okay. But it is 18 minutes in now. Masters chasing after the bottom lane, but we're all good. Ziv backs away.
So AHQ have given away a lot of their control over bottom.
That's a lot of damage coming in from Mountain just by himself. Westor trying to catch up as well. Hook shot will take him away. Rocket coming in. Well, lands onto Pon. That's the explosion damage. Mountain, okay, he's not going to be in range, and Pon was ready there to defend, but that was scary for a second.
As I was saying, is AHQ have given away a lot of their tempo advantage over the bottom side, trying to eke out this tower trade in this small window that they had for Infernal. But KT, seeing the small window, are now trying to climb through it. They're like, okay, they've left the Infernal alone, we're taking it.
And wow, another one, but this time going to go over to KT, so it's not like we're going to have a massive stack over to AHQ.
They're going to fight over this Rift Herald. Smeb is actually teleporting top. They know exactly where AHQ are. Here they go.
Can they actually close them off, though? Here comes Mata and Pon behind him. In comes Smeb. Just want to go for the engage right now. Jumps onto Mountain. He flashes away, but the death sentence lives up to his name. Down goes Smeb. And the Rift Herald, he's getting involved as well. Mata getting chased out, and he will just be the sacrificial catfish on this one. Westor comes in with yet another one. And Pon, he's getting chased out by Ziv. Flashes over the wall. There is no escape from the Cleanse Skull combo. In comes Albus. It might be another one. Death sentence will kill that minion dead. But Score, he's trapped underneath this one. Void rushes into Ziv, but he's discarded. But he still picks up the kill. 4 kills to AHQ.
And that's disaster for KT Rolster. You can see it. They're trying to think 1, 2, 3 steps ahead of AHQ, but AHQ just have a great read on them. They try to collapse on the Rift Herald. AHQ punish them. They don't get the Herald, but they're in position for the Baron.
Worst possible timing. 20 minutes on the dot. HQ move towards this one. And who's there to contest? Death there opens up the curtain call, but there are so many high health members. In fact, the first one misses on that one, and the Baron almost certainly going to go down here to AHQ. There it is, Baron Asher down, and AHQ in such a fantastic position now.
That just feels bad. And we said, you know, there's still a lot on the line for these teams to play for. The LMS in particular, home crowd advantage. You can hear the roar of the crowd behind them as AHQ clean this one up. And again, KT, they thought they had the window here. They take the Infernal, Smeb pulls the trigger on the teleport. They think that they have enough time to rotate, but Smeb trades his health bar for nothing. It's now a 4v5 disadvantage to KT. Ziv rockets in, forces Pon out of the fight, and Mats is like, hello? Team? No one's going to help them.
No. No one can hear you scream. And Score also locked in this one, and just the chase is relentless. You're not really getting away from a Kled. Also, everyone flashing after you. That also sucks for Score. But he was the final casualty of that fight. And Pon in the mid lane, I mean, he's trading against Arn, but he's definitely not getting the better of him. It goes Smeb very deep into the tower, assassinates the ADC from the work set up by his mid laner. Albus, he's hungry. Mata's going to flash away, 2 for 1. That's just a 1 kill over to KT, so nice little pick off there.
And that is twice now that Mata has eked Smeb away from a fight with blinking red health.
Yeah, so gets him to safety. We're 21 minutes in, and AHQ still have Baron of 4 members, though it has bought a good now minute for KT just to mobilize, move to their towers, look for the defense, and HQ really can't set up the siege, so that pick actually did mean a lot for them.
Naturally, Jinx, their primary siege mechanic there, so you are correct that it eats up a lot of this valuable time on the Baron buff.
On top of that, next dragon's going to be Infernal here for us, so that will be the third one of the game. I was looking at Mata, it's like, no, he's definitely not ganking his own ADC, but Score is waiting in the bush. He's going to jump away.
And naturally, the bottom outer tower is the easiest for AHQ to take, as well as the fact that they do want to get some grip over this dragon control area, especially with that other Infernal coming up. It's just a patient game. It means that with this Baron, unless KT make a massive mistake, that AHQ won't grab so much ground off of the map.
Mountain invading alongside Ann. Pretty much just taking away these tunnels, being rude. Westall taking away this bottom tower, mid lane. Oh well, that's not going to be a kill really onto Ziv, but that's a little bit of poke. Smeb's off into a side lane now, which is pretty much what we expected from the start of the game. He's completed his Trinity Force, has the Tiamat, so now he can actually push that side lane.
And just the question is how much will KT actually give up in this Baron rotation?
Doesn't seem like a lot, honestly.
It's probably going to be a tower, maybe an Infernal. We'll see how confident they are to look for the fight when that timer starts counting down, or if AHQ can again prep appropriately by controlling these big areas of advantage that they have, the bot lane as well as the mid lane.
I mean, I'll be honest, Russ, they don't have longer on it. I mean, it's what, maybe 10, 15 seconds? I know because it was taken at 20 minutes, so I can say for certain that they don't have long left on it.
The nice thing is that it gives them that bridge and almost that certainty that we're at least going towards the late game, that the Cassiopeia, the Jinx will be able to reach those third items.
Ramp and scale. Is a big thing, of course, for the door and Anne. That being said, Deft and Pawn are still going to do a lot of damage late game, and Camille will be a massive split pressure.
I feel like Smeb's getting really unlucky though with his trips with Dark Passage. Feels like he jumps on, and every single time Dark Passage drags him right underneath the tower. Yeah,
someone's flashing and someone's dragging him deep, but such is the problem with Camille. Okay,
so speaking of drags,
onto Mata. I mean, he's still very tanky. Hit from Ziv as well to carry on this one. Opening up the curtain. Wow, he just destroyed the rest of his HP bar. That's violent tendencies for you. The hook comes out, doesn't quite connect, but it is simply the one kill onto Mata. Yeah, did not expect the damage coming in from Ziv.
And again, another team leaves up Thresh, and another team is punished by leaving up Thresh. It's not Sorta this time around, it is Albus, but hook after hook, high kill participation this entire game. He's setting up everything for AHQ, and KT are just getting picked apart.
Pretty much. And Albus getting into this jungle now, seeing if Score goes back to base. It will allow them to place down some pretty deep vision. Mountain is also flanking him, so is Arn. And Deft, yeah, really can't step up. So again, AHQ, also before this next dragon, are just getting a nice bit of time to place down deep vision, take away all of the knowledge away from KT so they can potentially go for this second Infernal for themselves.
It is still very scary for AHQ to overreach and to push deep in here. We've seen that Smeb is more than happy to look for the 5v5 to dive into the backline, but another pick.
Again, grounded, but again, Tam Kench, what a great champion. We'll drag him to safety.
I mean, we say that, and yes, Mata's done a good job. He saved Smeb multiple times. He just disengaged Score there, but there's still 8 kills for AHQ on a pick composition when you do have a Tahm Kench. So things are still going right for AHQ as they also pick another Infernal into the back pocket.
Also, turns out objectives absolutely just get destroyed when you have a Jinx and a Cassiopeia on your team. So that went down in what, like 4 or 5 seconds flat. So very scary for KT when they go towards the next dragon, next Baron rather, which is coming down in less than 2 minutes. So Wester on Arn, if they're given just a few seconds with Baron, it's disappearing. That means the vision that's set down now by KT means even more.
KT really need to crack this mid lane tower though so they can start eking that vision line deeper and around the back of the Baron pit. Naturally, they do have Rek'Sai, so it's not as precarious a situation as it could be. Tremor Sense, woo, Band-Aid fixes a lot of things. Wish the LPL would definitely look into that.
Yeah, it definitely helps you a little bit. We've been seeing some Rek'Sai, though it's not necessarily helped too much. Either way, 26 minutes into this one, AHQ still with the gold lead and the dragon lead.
So we do have the 3 completed items for Jinx, so looking for that rapid fire cannon. And when you're in rocket launcher form and your crit is that high, it really only takes that one shot. You know, Jinx isn't really punished for walking around in rocket as opposed to minigun when she's just constantly poking in and out, you know, picking and bursting people out with that crit.
It will hurt a lot. Even now, triple items compared to what, the 2.5 items, if you can call it that, from Deft. Getting his own red buff, so there is a significant lead over to Arn. Not really in CS, but of course the kills, the towers and the assists have pushed him over the line on that one. Just waiting for those crits as well.
And really, this game hasn't necessarily been Deft's fault. It's kind of spiraled, not out of control, because it is certainly still very much in the realm of KT to
yeah.
finish this game. But this has really been the top side of the map, kind of giving away these small advantages to AHQ, where Deft is just kind of sitting back waiting for his team to look for these 5v5s to allow him to use his ultimate as either cleanup duty or utility start to a fight.
And you get the feeling this one's going to go late as well, and that's where Jin really starts to thrive. Yes, he has the pick potential of the ultimate, but it's really when he starts racking up those big items, has the crazy amount of damage on those crits and those fourth shots. So that's what he's looking towards right now. Top lane though, Westor being pinned down by Smeb, and actually just deletes him. Precision Protocol removes him. In comes Mountain. It might be a 1-for-1 trade. Can't quite see the health bar. There he is. Smeb jumping away, but again, Venom's Bite. These executions are massive. Scoring the 1v1, but Ziv is in the 1v2. Mountain backs away to the rest of his team. The relative safety. Pawn goes down. Score underneath this one. He jumps back towards the rest of the team. Maybe he can get one back. No, he cannot. 3 kills AHQ at the cost of just the door.
And they're right in front of the Baron again with no smite and only the AD carry and support up left. You'd think that AHQ would feel confident to pull the trigger, but so much respect given to Deft and Mata.
Oh man, Mountain very low himself. He needs to go towards this honey fruit before he goes towards the Baron. What else do KT have? No curtain call. Deft and Mata. I don't think they're going to be able to contest this one, Frost.
And again, Deft has really been irrelevant this entire game. Not necessarily all his fault. It's just the fights are over before the AD carry even gets involved.
A second Baron now over to AHQ, and it's just right place, right time. Every single time this happens. And now KT, I mean, seriously on the back foot. Yes, they were before, but they managed to stabilize. All right, next Dragon, next Baron, maybe they can contest this one. But again, AHQ has come out with a fight. If you can call it that, it was a fight fought on, what, 3 different fronts.
Yeah, it was super hard just to kind of burst out Westor and then to try to burst out Ziv. You're dealing with Skrull, you're dealing with the shield from Archangels there. So unfortunately, didn't have the immediate follow-up damage to pop and make a run for it.
Big problem for them. Smeb is definitely on the run in the bottom lane. He's got Mountain running towards him. Though he'll see a score, so he's going to stop him from taking out his top laner right there. So AHQ, next round's going to be Ocean. Not up for a fair amount of time. Now, we need to see people not get picked off as last time, so we can use the full duration of the Baron.
But we also need to see AHQ be proactive. So they got the first Baron that meant that they were going to make these 3-item power spikes. Now that their composition has it, yes, they can continue to scale and go late game, but so can KT. And late game, it's a 50-50. AHQ don't want that. They have the lead. Now's the time to dig in.
They're pushing the mid, they're pushing the bot, and also placing the deep vision, which is the most important on Albus, the duo here. Just pushing in as far as they can. Smeb's going to go to the top lane, big wave to be met, and also, again, another bit of pressure there, forcing AHQ kind of just to pull the trigger and have Ziv go in. Otherwise, Smeb's going to take your top side.
And the dive potential with Kled is so strong. Naturally, the Skrull able to juggle that tower aggro. KT smartly respecting that, disengage. Don't want to end the game over an outer structure.
Well, man, KT needs to try and just keep Arn away from this one. Good hook, but again, Mata in place. Has to burn the flash for that one, however. But it's still, if Arn gets up close and personal with these towers, they will drop almost instantly. There are a lot of rewards in that bush. There's a lot of things in that bush.
And KT are just trying to buy time for Smeb in the top lane. He keeps starting his back, stopping it. Can he trust his team enough that they don't need him there, that they can hold this off, and they won't get caught out by someone like Albus, like Mountain.
Tower down. Smeb goes back to base on this one, but for now, AHQ are quite happy with their haul. Maybe they'll go back to base, push out the top side courtesy of Ziv, meet him there maybe halfway. Or they could go towards the Dragon. They have so many different options here for AHQ.
They want to continue to try pushing these structures. The last standing top tower is going to be much more valuable than the Ocean Dragon. Again, more control of the map means that if this goes to a third Baron, it gets that much easier. But KT, it's a very reserved defense. They understand exactly what type of position they're in. And again, they're not going to throw the game over an inner or outer structure. They're just going to let them fall, hold their in-hit line, and force AHQ to overreach for it.
I'm definitely just stole blue buff from Westor right there. It's just like, come on, man, you don't really need that. Westor would like on Cassiopeia. That being said, he has a lot of mana regen now.
The infinite rockets.
The infinite rockets, there you go. You better stay in that rocket launcher form. But Westor, yeah, he's got the Morello Narmacan, he's also got the Rod of Ages, not going to run out of mana in a hurry. Top lane just completely disintegrates underneath Arn. Seeing if he can find any more pot shots as well on the retreat there from Deft. That being the crit, would have done a lot more damage, but taking a lot of damage in return, in from Deft and Pawn. We'll go back to base now. That was a pretty good run. Top tower, mid, and bottom.
Still didn't crack that inhib line, so this means that AHQ, again, will have to reach that much deeper. And with Cassiopeia and Jinx, especially at this point in the game, you have to look towards Smeb. You have to look towards score. It's going to be a flank, most likely, especially with rapid fire cannon on Jinx, that can break AHQ's line of scrimmage. Unless On wants to run forward like that again and just give Pawn these free pot shots, they really need to get defensive control vision up, clear out their jungle, and open up space for Rek'Sai or Camille to find that backline.
At the very least, they have the tools for it, right? You just mentioned Camille, but again, the Abyssal Voids try and maneuver around and see if they can find that flank. Just for now, AHQ just have complete control over this map. They can take the dragon, they can take the towers, they can go into the jungle and get all the vision. It's now a battle for KT, essentially just to get vision in their own jungle. Can they find that flank? Can they get those wards down so that Smeb can find the flank, so that Mana can get into position? Otherwise, AHQ are going to just slowly shove in, look to break in that inhib line. Though I do feel for us, we're maybe looking towards the next Baron for them to be able to break that one.
And you have to think, when you're in a position where you have the potential to take down KT Rolster, you're just going to be very cautious, very conservative, respectful type of League of Legends. You're not going to try to throw away your lead on a greedy overstay. But here we go. This is where they've been reaching deep. They've done a good job clearing out KT's vision, not opening up any potentials of teleports, although there's one cheeky ward.
Teleport coming in from Smeb. I mean, this is precisely what they're looking for. However, the Dord's going to grab the lantern back to his teammates, slowing them down with the curtain call. In comes An as well, but that's pretty much that play fizzled. TP down as well.
And that was it. That was what KT needed to do. They tried to open up the utility, start the fight, allow Smeb to get into the backline, but AHQ just smartly disengage, and a lot of resources were used. Those key resources that they need to break this composition. Though again, On took a single.
He's playing with fire for us. I mean, that's 100% over to On right now. But he's playing with momentum. You know, he's got all the crowd behind him. They're cheering every play, every crit that he makes. He's like, I can get another one. I can take someone out. But if he gets caught, I mean, that's a lot of the damage down the drain for them.
But what is he going to get caught by? Is now Corki's caught.
Mountain jumps onto Pawn. He doesn't have anything behind him right yet. And the flourish goes right through AHQ. Hook lands onto Camille. Again, going to be eaten up by Mana. But they're trying to break this tower more than anything. Westor rotating from the mid lane. And Skirmish keeps going back and forth. Smeb looking for this flank. It's going to have to be from a hook shot. Jumps back. It's on a knife's edge in this game. KT, however, AHQ without the Baron have managed to break the inhib line. That's huge for them.
This gold lead has also ballooned close to 10k in AHQ's favor. They're going to pick up a lot of the global advantages. Check out the itemization as the backs will come through. What's it going to be? Bloodthirster, bam.
4 items. And is anyone even building armor from KT? Does he need to go for an early ass whisper? Not really. No one has significant armor that he has to be worried about, so he can just keep racking up damage.
Yeah, everyone's itemized towards that MR there. You got Spirit Visage on the top lane, Hex Drinker, and Corki's back pocket. It's like you said, this Jinx is going to continue to hit like a truck. Baron up in 20 seconds, and KT, your time has run out. You need to take a stand somewhere.
They've got to do it. I mean, they're pushing up. They have somewhat deeper vision. I mean, it's in their own jungle, but they need to place it down right now. You can see Mata actually in the river placing down vision on top of the Baron. But Arn's just going to do so much damage, as you said. No one really has any defense for it. I guess the defense is the offense. They need to try and get the pick onto Arn, then they can wipe up the rest of the team fight. Westor, his damage being mitigated. But it's just so, so close. And KT on the verge of actually being taken out by HQ.
I feel like if KT can just continuously sit in this point where they're just constantly poking, constantly pushing with Pawn, they're still in a good situation. AHQ want to drag them over to the Baron. They want to look for the 5v5 and make the most out of Jinx here. Pawn is just doing so much damage.
Oh, yeah. And you know it's going to be a frustrating loss as well if it does happen to KT. It's not like they randomly drafted a Riven in top lane like they have been playing seriously. They have the 280 carries set up, but it's been these constant good plays out from AHQ.
They force KT into the river, and now they have inside track on mid. Mountain's funny. He's like, I really don't want to be here.
Alrighty, he's down to half. Probably will go back to base before this play happens. Or at least trying to heal up at the very least. You can see Smeb in the top side. Wisely backing away before Ziv turns up, who is now level 18, by the way.
We're just battling over the smallest frames of vision and frames of like control.
Yeah.
It's just, I feel like this is a war of inches.
It has to be. Both sides are being cautious. Like AHQ, yes, they have a 7,000 gold lead, but you know they don't want to squander it. Like being so close to a win over KT.
It's also about where all of their power is really located. And yes, it is split pretty evenly between the Jinx and the Cassiopeia, but one of them has a significant longer reach than the other. And when you're across from the long reach of the Jhin and a Corki, you really need that Jinx to stay alive.
That's for certain. AHQ, again, regaining control over the Baron area. But, you know, if you just give them a couple seconds, we've said time and time again, they're going to burn it. Here comes the TP. Mato comes in, opens up the curtain call. It's already gone. AHQ, they're going to turn this back around to KT. They need to make something happen right now. Mato goes into the Grey House. Smeb around the side. He just can't find the flank. Everyone converges on him from AHQ. Meanwhile, getting the hook on Tapon. He goes down.
He flashes.
And score. Everyone has to flash away. Massive crit from On. And Deft on the retreat, but the flash from Mountain, good sidestep, but there are so many people chasing him. He does manage to escape from this one, but the 2 kills, the Baron, this could be the win.
And that was the confidence I was looking for from AHQ. They pull the trigger on the Baron, they pick up the 2 kills, and like you said, they've got the creep wave storming behind them, another one on the bottom, but they're looking for the win now.
Look at that front line, it's just so damn tanky. Deft scores Smeb, can they make it happen? First tower's down, Smeb again trying to find the flank. He has the ultimatum, Score doing what he can, but he just can't find a way in. They jump on top of the Jinx, but it just does no damage. Score jumps in, knocks everybody away, but it's not gonna work. Another kill goes over. Deft onto the spawn pad, and they've done it! AHQ take down the Nexus and slay KT!
And the LMS never disappoints internationally. Coming into this, I watched a ton of their VODs. I'm like, I don't know, the LMS, that region looks so shaky. They dismantle the LPL easily and now take down KT Rolster.